Excellent. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. I will just go ahead and share my screen with you. Okay, so today's topic will be on the e-signature workflow. So we're going to go through how we can do that through the e-signatures menu, but also through the participants records menu, where you can send out multiple documents as well if you need to from their actual records. Okay, just a few housekeeping items. If you have any questions about processes, features, difficulties that you are having, or things that don't make sense, we'll take turns using the raise hand function in Google Meet or through the chat towards the end of the session here after I've done the demonstration on e-signatures. This session is being recorded and will be uploaded to the user guide after the session. And if for some reason I don't know the answer to your questions, I will certainly find out and I'll email you afterwards to provide you with that update. To raise your hand, you'll just click on the little hand icon down the bottom of Google Meet. That will let me know that you have a question to ask, and it will effectively put you in a queue so that I can answer your questions in order. You can then also press that hand again to lower your hand if you need to, but once you start talking, it will lower that on your behalf. You can use the chat option during the session as well. So that's just found down the bottom right-hand side of Google Meet and just looks like a little text messaging icon. If you prefer to type your questions out rather than verbalize them, you can go ahead and do that. And I'll aim to answer those as they come through as well. We do also have Simon joining us from our support team. So if there's anything that he can answer as well, I'm sure he'll be happy to jump in on the chat. And
nice to meet you all.
Beautiful. All right, so our next training session will be an Ask Me Anything, and that will be next Tuesday. Following that, we will have a session on scheduling for shift alerts and clashes. And then on the 31st of March, we'll be covering off any new features that have been added to Astalty throughout the month of March, which it has been a very busy month, so that will be a good one to take part in. Alrighty, so I'm just going to change the screen that I'm sharing now. We will go to here. So what we're showing now is our e-signatures page within Astalty. Now, any information that you do see within this display today is all fictional. None of the participant information is real. It's all fictitious. So there's no risk of any data being shared for actual participants on the scheme. So e-signatures is a great function that we have added into Astalty. It's been around for a little while now, but there's been continued improvements on this over time. So some of the things that are key to know is that e-signatures are only available to premium subscribers, and the account owner will need to accept the terms and conditions in order for e-signatures to be accessed by the team. E-signatures are available to any admin user by default. However, if you want to allow access to e-signatures to any of your other team members, you can do so by heading to their user profile, and you can simply go into their permissions and you can toggle on whether or not they have access to the e-signature workflow as well. Now, I might just expand my screen up a little bit here because it looks like we're missing some content. Okay, beautiful. So I am actually working from our live demo today. So e-signatures, it's not something that we can use in our regular demo account. So this is something that we have to do from a live demo account. But again, no participant data is shared throughout this process. All right, so we'll navigate back to our e-signatures, and within this section here, you can see all of the e-signatures that have been generated during this account. So what we will do is you can view any pre-existing e-signature requests. So you can see here that we have quite a few drafts. So if you've created an e-signature request but you haven't finalized, you'll be able to open that up and see the content, who it was going to, and you may not see other. Perfect. You'll be able to see the document itself just by clicking on the eye icon here, and that will display that document there for you to view. You can then also go ahead and finalize that signature request from this page as well. Once the document has been signed, you'll see that status displayed here showing that it's all signed. And once a request has been sent off for signature, that will then show awaiting signature. You can also filter your e-signature request by their status, just to help streamline. For some users, we know that they send out quite a substantial amount of e-signature requests. This just helps to, I guess, reduce the amount of content you're looking at on your screen and refine it to the results that are most relevant to you at the time. Okay, so what we will do now is go through the process of creating a signature request. So to do that, we're going to click on Request Signature. Now we have the option here to send this signature request to a participant, say for instance, a service agreement or a consent form. You can also send documents to your team members. So if you have any employment documentation that you need your employees to sign, that's also an option here as well. You can also send to someone else, completely external to participants or users, whatever is the case in this instance. If you do select someone else, then you will need to add their details in manually as the recipient of that request. But in this example, we're going to use one of our participants, and I'm going to select my participant, Harley. Once I do that, I can then add in documents either by dragging and dropping, or I can select existing documents from within this participant's profile. So we're going to have a look at that now by selecting that option here, and we can see that I have a service agreement and a medication form. Now, we've got a couple of options. You can send these individually if you want, but just bear in mind that each signature request that is sent is $1. Or you can actually add multiple documents to this request, effectively making a bundle or an e-signature bundle. We call these envelopes, and there are multiple documents that you add to those, allowing you to capture more signatures for the $1 cost. So to do this, we're going to go ahead and select this document here, as well as this medication form. These are just examples. And we'll then click on Close. And those documents are now visible here for us to have those signed by the participant. So we'll come down to the signers section of the form here, and we can select the participant, myself as the primary coordinator or the service coordinator in this instance, or our primary coordinator as well. So we're going to select Harley, and I'm also going to be a signer on this one as well, so I'll select myself. If there was someone else we wanted to add to this particular signing and they weren't a contact of the participant, you can go ahead and click Add Signer and simply type their name and email address in as well. Now, in our signature request details, we'll just put a title. This will be like your subject line in your email. And then you can go ahead and type in your request that will be in the email body, or you can also utilize our note templates here, which is a great feature. You'd need to set these up individually yourself as well. You can do this through your settings and through tasks and notes, and then you would just use the signature request template. So we'll go ahead and use that for today. Now, another great feature that's also just been added is sending automatic reminders. So we do often find that sometimes users are coming to us, letting us know that participants haven't signed the documents and they need a reminder to go out to them. To initiate this, you simply click here and reminders will be sent out after 24 hours, 72 hours, and 1 week after the document remains unsigned. So any users who have not completed that signature request will get that notification to let them know that they need to review the document. So we'll go ahead and click Generate Request. And we can now access the Docusign functionality here, which allows us to place those signature fields. Now, you do have the option, and this is a question that's come up a few times recently, of adding checkboxes to these Docusign requests. Just bear in mind that any checkboxes that you create in Astalty templates or Word templates are not dynamic when they transition into Docusign for this workflow. Effectively, the document that comes through to this section here is like a flattened PDF. So none of the fields or form fields would be usable. You would need to add those in manually yourself after. Our recommendation to mitigate the delay, I guess, in needing to get those tick boxes checked off is to have that conversation with the relevant person that's signing the form to tick those boxes on their behalf in your templates first, and then you're effectively just sending the document for their review and signature. So we'll scroll down here. We can add the signature and initials, date signed, whatever relevant information you want to capture on this document. You'll also find in the right-hand side here that you've got an easy scroll bar, which allows you to find the last page in the document. And then you can just go ahead and add your signatures in here. So we'll do that here. So we're getting Harley to sign this part of the form now. So we'll add the signature field and we'll add the full name field. And just for reference, we'll also add in date signed. Now, because I want to sign this form as well, I can also change the drop-down options here to show myself as an additional signer. And then I can also add my signature details here as well. And the date signed. Now, because we had multiple documents on this request, we can also now scroll down and see we've got the second form listed down here. So if we click on this one, we can then also scroll down and select the relevant page. We can add in this instance, we might just add Harley's details in here. So we'll do Harley's signature, name, and the date of signing. And once that's ready, we can then go ahead and click send. Now, I will just go back quickly because I have just realized I did not actually correct this email address here. Once I send that off, I can change that email address. Sorry, guys, technical difficulties. Okay, so we'll just add these back in again. And date signed. And then we'll add Harley's details back in here. Awesome. Okay, we'll go ahead and click send, and that will now generate the request that will go out to the recipients, and you will get charged that $1 at this point. So irrespective of whether the document has been signed or if it's cancelled, that cost is incurred at the time that you request the e-signature. Now, in this instance, I've just realized that Harley's email address is not correct. Now, this may just be because we're in demo mode here, but you would ordinarily be able to come in here and update that email address so that you can then send that to the correct email. That does happen sometimes, mistypes, and you may need to come in here and There we go. Delivery failed. We can now update that email address. So I'll go ahead and do that. And I'll just send that to myself so I can show you what the workflow looks like when you sign that document from your emails. So I will now bring that one up for you guys so you can have a look. All right, so we've received the email. We now get the prompt to review and sign the documents. So we'll click on review and sign. And the recipient will see who is requesting that signature. They then need to accept that they are going to electronically sign this document and click continue. They'll be able to see who's requested that. Oh, you guys aren't seeing this, I don't think.
No.
Oh, my sincere apologies. Okay. Sorry, we'll go back a step. My apologies. Okay, we might just share the window instead. Okay. We will get there, guys. I'm sorry. Okay. How does that look? We can see that now?
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So this is the email that you receive. Once you've got that notification, you can go ahead and click review and sign. So this is where I was mentioning before, and it's still not showing you guys. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I can see.
It should be showing you a different page. Here we go. There we are. Okay, I've just figured out a new little tool in Meet. There we go. All right, so here you can see who has requested the document to be signed. We can then go ahead and start signing. So we can simply click here and we can adopt our own signature. You can also draw or upload a signature. So the draw function is particularly useful for those who are on tablets, touchscreen devices. You can also use your mouse to draw, but it can look a little bit messy. In this instance, we'll just go ahead with the signature that has been suggested by Docusign and adopt and sign this form. And then because there was only the one signature for myself to fill in, you can see that it's populated my name and the date that I've signed this document. I can now click submit. and my part of that form will be done. So back to this page now, and it looks like I've stopped sharing again. I will just reshare. Okay. Can everyone see that okay now?
Yep.
Yep, beautiful. Okay, so we've got the second instance that we've received as well. So I'll just open that one up. We'll review and sign this one on Harley's behalf. And once we've already assigned that signature once, when we click on the next sign here option, that signature that we've adopted will then apply to that field as well. So we can go ahead and click submit. Beautiful. And then once that's done, we can come back to Astalty and we'll be able to see that not only has that been viewed by the recipient, but once we've refreshed and that e-signature request has come back, that status will also change to signed, and you'll be able to see the document once it has been completed. While we're waiting for that, you can also download the document prior to it being signed by all parties. This is particularly useful if you find that a document hasn't been signed and it's expired now, and you still want to be able to use that document together. In-person signature, for example, you can download the partially signed document as well, which is really helpful. Okay, so we can now see that those documents have been signed. We've got the original documents that excluded those signatures, and now we have the signed documents here as well. So we can click on those, we can scroll down and see that those signatures have been applied to the document. Now, you've also got the option within this actions button here. You can assign this to a participant if it wasn't originally done so when you were creating the e-signature request, or to a user, so one of your staff members. You can also delete and view the activity log. This is helpful if you want to see the status of that e-signature request. You can see when it's been viewed, when it's been signed, and when the document has been completed. Something else that has come up is where the NDIA or LACs are requesting verification of the digital signature. If you need to provide this sort of evidence, you can use the download audit trail option here, and that will actually provide you with a fully signed or fully certified document, which you can provide to the NDIA, outlining who has received that email signature. So it shows their email address, when it was reviewed, when it was signed, and who signed it. So that's definitely helpful to have access to should you need that verification for the NDIA. Now, the great thing about this is that when we go and have a look at Harley's profile, we are now going to find in Harley's documents that those signed documents are also visible within the profile. That just helps to avoid any unnecessary downloading and re-uploading into their profile, all automated, which streamlines that process significantly. Now, if for example, you wanted to make one of these documents a record, not all, you can do that from within the participant's profile. So we have the signed documents now. What we're going to do is navigate to the participant's records page, and we're going to create a participant record. Now, from here, we can select from pre-existing record types that have been created. These will need to be set up within your settings, your participant settings, and we'll go ahead and we will select service agreement, and we'll just use our date from today. Beautiful. Now, does this participant record need to be signed? In this instance, no, because it's already been signed. If you were to click yes, then you could opt to sign now or sign later, but we'll choose no, and we'll select an existing document. So we're going to go ahead and click that one that has been signed already and create that record. So that record has now been generated within the participant's profile, and you'll be able to view that within here as well and see those the signed pages here too. You can also download if you need to share this document with anyone for any reason. For instance, you may want to share this with a plan manager. That option there is also available for you. And you can also send it from within Astalty directly too, which is a great little feature as well. If you do choose to use that option, you can select from any recipient, or you can just type that in directly. Alrighty, so let's go back to the records page now, and we can see that we have a service agreement that hasn't been sent, and we also have a couple of records that haven't been generated as yet. So we might want to go ahead and send out both consent forms. So we'll go ahead and click add record for our internal consent form. And we'll just use this medication form for example. Actually, let's go ahead and do a consent form in templates. So within the participants templates page, you can go ahead and choose your consent form. You would need to have generated these in your templates through your settings prior to wanting to send this off to your participant. Go ahead and click generate. And then if everything is as you want it to appear, you can then click on finish editing, finalize, and confirm. And then we can either create the record from here, or we'll go back to records, and we can see here that we have to have this consent form. This is required. It's a missing record. So we can go ahead and click add record, and we'll use these dates here. And from an existing document, sorry, no, my apologies. I'm getting my workflows wrong here. We'll go back and we'll create a participant record here, sorry. Consent form. Nope, that is not working either. Sorry, guys. It's not my day today. We'll go back into the templates and we will transition this form here into a record. And this will be our consent form. And we do want to get this one signed, but we're going to select no to have this signed right now because we're going to send it as an envelope with other documents. So we'll create record. And then when we go back to our records, we can now see that that one is sitting in here and it has moved away from the missing records as well. Now, this missing records form here, this is an NDIS consent form we want to add. This is where we can then drop in files that we may have downloaded. So I've got one here that I will use. This is just the NDIA consent form. And this one will also be signed, but again, we'll select no to sign this right now and create that record as well. So now we can see that in this records folder, we have these two forms here, which are yet to be signed. We can go ahead and create our signature request and select from those options of documents that we have previously said need to be signed. So if we choose both of those and click next, we can then go ahead and we'll just use myself as the example in this instance. And submit. Again, we'll be able to go through and generate our signatures by clicking on the relevant field options within the Docusign pop-out. So we'll just scroll down here and we'll add a signature field, date, and name. And then if we scroll down to our NDIS form, we can navigate right down to the final page where our signature is going to be requested, and we can pop those in here as well, and the date of signing. Awesome. Now I will just move this off the screen. Okie dokie. So I will just go ahead and sign that document quickly when it arrives in my inbox. While we wait for that to happen, you can see here now that this is showing that it's awaiting signature. We can also view those documents that we have sent out, so you can check to make sure that they are the correct documents. It does look like the formatting is a little bit off here for a Word document, but rest assured that when that comes through to you, once it's been signed, it will come through as a PDF version of that document. Okay, here we go. I'll just do the signature off screen just to quickly get this one showing for you guys. Okay. Cool. So that one should be coming through to us now shortly. Just refresh. Okay, we can now see that it's viewed, and very shortly we'll also see that that document has then been signed. So it's now showing our status as signed, and that document is now visible for us to view. So both of those have come through. So if we have a look at those now, we can see our consent form that is generated through our Astalty templates. And we can also see our NDIS form here, which shows, as you would expect, with the correct formatting of that document, along with the signatures at the bottom of that form. Now, the great thing about this is because we've generated this as a record for the participant, if we navigate to the participant's profile and select records, we can now see that all of the records that are required are within this participant's profile, and those forms that we just sent off, the consent form and the NDIS consent form, are both showing as current, and they're not awaiting signatures anymore. So this is just another way that you can go about your workflow to get those documents signed if you need them to be listed as a record within the participant's profile. I will also just show you as well, you do have the participant records report, which allows you to see any expired reports that need to be completed, or records, sorry, that need to be completed and signed. This is particularly helpful just for your compliance to make sure that you are up to date with any records that need to be updated. You can also filter this by the status, by the record type, by primary coordinator. You do also have the ability to toggle between your own participants and all participants, depending on what your permission settings are within Astalty. So thank you very much for your patience while I navigated that, and apologies for the incorrect information while we were working on the records pages there. But did anyone have any questions at all on how to manage those e-signature workflows? Nope. Okay, beautiful. That's great. All right. Well, we might just move on then to a couple of other things that I would like to show you all, which you may find quite helpful. And something that has come up recently for us is being able to update the invoice prefix. Not everyone likes the default setting, which is a letter I at the start. Some plan managers sometimes have issues with their automated systems picking those up as either I, L, or 1, and that can sometimes lead to incorrect or duplicate payments being made to providers. So to help mitigate that risk, we've now allowed the ability to make changes to your invoice prefix, which you can do by heading to settings. And then if you navigate to invoices and click on edit in your invoice settings, you'll see here that your invoice appearance has the option to change your prefix. So I've gone ahead and done that and changed that prefix to INV. And now all invoices that are sent out will have this prefix at the start of each invoice batch and invoice. And you'll also see that that updates your invoice email message as well. So the email that the recipient receives will have that new invoice prefix identified in that content as well. You can also have a look at what your invoices are going to look like by clicking on actions in the invoice settings and preview the invoice PDF. We'll have a look at how that appears. So you can then check to make sure that that is displaying as you would expect. Ignore the invoice number up here because it's just a sample. It's just showing you a generic review of how that would appear for your participants. But that's a great little feature there to double check to make sure that everything is as you would expect. Did anyone have any questions on that at all? No? Alrighty. So what we might do, I'm just going to stop that share for a second and we will share a different screen. Alrighty. So just moving into the last part of our training session for today, does anyone have any questions not related to the content that I've shared today? Any issues that you're experiencing or queries that you just want to air out now? And I'll be happy to answer.
Sorry, Kimberly, we do. So it is sort of related to what we've just gone over.
Sure.
When you go in and do like the templates, so we've got like our internal documents, And then when we go to do the NDIS consent form, how do we then, where does it go? Like once it's generated, how do then we get it ready to attach in an envelope for Docusign?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you generate an NDIS form, they'll all come through to you as Word documents, and they'll arrive in your downloads folder of your device's file explorer. So you can then open those up, make any edits that are necessary, and then you can upload those back into Astalty as a record, as a document, whichever works for your organization, and then you can go ahead and send them out that way.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Do you want me to show you how that looks?
Yes, please.
Yeah, no problems at all.
Thank
All right,
you.
just change the screen we're sharing.
Sorry, we're so new to Astalty.
No, that's okay. No, all questions are brilliant, so go ahead and ask. All righty, so we'll share this one here. All right, you guys can see that okay again now?
Yes, thanks.
Alrighty, so we'll go into Harley's profile again, and we'll go down to templates and select the NDIA templates here. If we are generating a consent form, for example, we click on generate.
Yeah.
And once you've selected all of the relevant information, we'll just go down here, select all, and we'll say ongoing. Click on generate, and that document will come down to your downloads within your file explorer. Once you've then reviewed that document, you want to come back into the participants documents, or you can go through records if you had that missing record there, or you wanted to create a participant record using like NDIS consent form, for example. And then you would just bring that document from your file explorer and just drag that directly across into your record, and that will upload that document for you there. You can then go ahead and send that off for signing. And, you know, if you wanted to send that just on its own, you can go ahead and do that. If you do choose that option, we'll go ahead and show what that does. It directs you to that signing form immediately. So you can then enter the data of who's going to be signing this form. And then you can generate your request from there. So that just helps to streamline that process. If you're just uploading a single document that needs to be signed, that's the workflow you can use there if you want to apply that as a record.
Okay, thank you.
No problems at all. Any other questions?
No, none from us at this stage, thanks.
That's okay. I will just quickly touch over the updates that we've had to our reports page, which you will see here. We used to have tiles with the different types of reports that you could access, but now we are displaying them in a list form, but also breaking them down into the different sections. Something that I think is quite exceptional is the ability to favorite certain reports. Our billable charges report is something that is like the holy grail here. It provides so much information, and it's something that we would definitely recommend favoriting on your own reports list. That way, when you navigate back to all reports, your favorites will appear at the top, or you can simply navigate to favorites, and anything that you have starred will appear in this list as well. Now, you can also do the same for your exports. If you go ahead and click Create Export, you'll see the same type of list style. And then you'll also find as well that if you go to notifications, same appearance is in this page too. The only difference is that you don't have the ability to favorite notifications. And that's simply because if you're favoriting a notification, it means that perhaps you haven't got your notifications set up correctly. We wouldn't expect that you would have them favorited. They should just be working as intended. And you can always come back in here and make those changes at any time if you do need. Any questions on that?
No.
No, that's all good. No problems. All right. Well, if no one else has any questions, I don't want to take up time unnecessarily from you. I know that it is, it's a busy lifestyle in this industry, so we don't want to keep you here just for the sake of keeping you here. What I will do is I will go back to my presentation and we'll finish up for the day. Alrighty, so let's stay in touch. If you have any questions, ideas, or you want to continue the conversation, feel free to reach out. You can do so by emailing us at support@astalty.com.au or clicking the support button in the software. You'll find that at the top of your Astalty browser. If you're on LinkedIn, you can always connect in with Kian by using the QR code or searching for Kian on LinkedIn. He'd be more than happy to have you join his following. He shares regular updates there as well, so it's definitely worthwhile connecting in with him too. If there's nothing else that anyone else wants to ask, we'll wrap up now. Thank you so very much for everyone who has joined us today, and we look forward to catching you in the next session.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you. Thanks, Kim.
No worries at all. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.